This is another edition of So You Think You Can Squat. My name is Matt Winning, multiple world record holder, 1,100 pound squatter, and been lifting for about 20 years. Been around EFS probably for a good 10 or 15 years now. In this edition, we're going to take a guy that has minimal experience in the gym, teach him how to squat. The way we're going to do this is, what you first want to accomplish is watching them squat on their own without any coaching and figure out where they're going to break in technique, figure out what muscles you need to attack, and figure out what other issues they may or may not have while they're squatting. So what we'll do is we'll take a guy, he's a pretty tall guy, just has a little bit of experience in his squats, not any competition or anything like that, and we're going to try to make his form as perfect as we can. Now the reasons for doing this is, as a type of athlete, you can take anything from a powerlifter and make it a better lift. You can squat better by watching powerlifters. You can do things that will make you squat better and more weight safer, and you can make progress and gains longer no matter what your goals are, whether it's just to be strong in the gym, strong on the platform, or strong out on the field. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to teach him or watch him squat just on his own technique and his own form, and see what we need from there. You don't need a fancy monolift or any kind of fancy bar. All you need is a squat rack or a cage and some room to squat, okay? So we're going to bring this guy in, we're going to watch him squat, we're going to see what he breaks on technique, and then we'll talk about how we pick some of those things up and fix it. Go ahead. Look at his feet. Come and watch his lower back. Do 3 more. Watch his lower back. Okay, what we're seeing here is pelvic tilt right at the bottom. We're seeing his butt turn under his back. We're seeing his toe pressure come on his feet and come off of his heels. And we're seeing his eyes looking down, which is causing his upper back to round once the weight gets heavy enough to have any kind of pressure on his back. We're also seeing a huge quad dominance in his squat, which is basically hiding his lower back weak spots in his hamstrings. So what we're going to do now is we're going to readjust his form by using a box. We're going to teach him to set up correctly, and then we should make some big progress from there. The box squat is the best way to learn how to squat. Here you can see guys setting up the box. We don't exactly know what height we're going to use for him yet. We're going to dial that in as we go. But the box squat is the simplest and easiest way to teach somebody to sit back. It actually gives them something to sit on and gives them a point of reference when they're going down into the squat. And it also teaches you what muscles to use when you stand. So as we saw in his free squat, we were using a lot of leg strength and keeping our hamstrings and posterior chain, which includes lower back, hamstrings, and glutes. This is going to teach him how to do it correctly, and it'll also save a lot of energy with the teaching process. So what we're going to start off with is, when you learn how to squat, you got to start from head to toe or toe to head. You have to start from the top or the bottom and work your way up to fix the problems. Okay? When I do a heavy squat, I start with my feet pressure and I work up to where my shins are, my knees are, my hips are, my abs are, my lower back is, and my shoulders. I do this very quickly under the bar to make sure that my body is completely set up perfect. For simplicity of teaching, we're going to start him from the top so you can see where he needs to have the bar. The first thing that you want to try to do is to always make sure that your hands are in the same position every time you squat, no matter beginner or advanced. People can have small little errors in where they're setting themselves on the bar. This can cause this side of the bar to weigh up to 500 pounds and this side of the bar to weigh up to 450 pounds. It doesn't sound like much of a difference, but when you're balancing those kind of weights, it can be a huge difference. So now we see his hands are perfectly set up from these rings over, and we also are looking at this line in the middle of the bar to see where it is in contrast to the center of his spine. This needs to be right in the center of his spine. As you can see, we're very close, which is going to make sure that the weight is 50 on the left, 50 on the right in percentage. We don't have a separation. So if he sets up like this, that's going to tell me two things. One, either he has a tight shoulder or 2, he has a very dominant leg side. And some people will use a lot of left or a lot of right if they don't have a lot of experience. And this will cause them to set up on the bar like this and they won't even know that they're doing it. So the first thing to do is to make sure that the bar is set even. The next thing that we're going to fix is from here to the bar. Now most people, go around the front, most people are going to have a position of look down. They're going to look down or they're going to look neutral. So what we want to fix is, this is his natural position when he was squatting. What we're going to fix is I want his head up so his traps are pinched into the bar. I want his eyes on something that's a little higher than neutral. So instead of looking straight ahead, I want him to look about 25 to 30 degrees up. Now that for me is usually, see where those bolts go into the wall? That's where I keep my eyes fixed the whole time I'm squatting. Now you can see at this position, his upper back will not falter when the weights get very, very heavy. His body will stay upright and his chest will stay up as long as his head stays up. The most important thing with squatting heavy weights is that the head makes the body follow everything else. If his head falls, this weight will come forward as well and it'll pin him. And then the spotters will have to pick it up or he's going to dump the bar over his head. So the most important thing from the top end perspective is that the head stays up and looking at 25 to 30 degrees roughly in that area.